Hi, this is DigitalFemme and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about today's Apple event. And I was watching about 30 minutes of it and I realized how much I really miss Steve Jobs. You know, I really looked forward to the Apple events in the past because I knew that with every Apple event, there would be a design innovation in addition to a design integrated with technology innovation. And lately, there really hasn't been that happening in Apple. I know I'm going to say things that a lot of people might disagree with, and that's totally fine. I just want to just say what I feel. And one of the things is, first of all, that HomePod Mini. I get that it's like acoustically innovative in terms of audiophile quality, perhaps. That's what they say, not in so many words, but in more words. And I do not have one with me to A/B it with the Google Nest Mini. Like, it's just interesting how Apple has not really placed themselves as leaders of innovation as they used to be in the past. It's almost like, number one, they're either playing catch up with Samsung or Google or Android, and they're just trying to hide behind their lack of, I hate using that word innovation, but I'm going to say it. It's almost like they're hiding behind their lack of innovation by using a lot of marketing words and a lot of marketing terms, or brilliantly taking sentences and describing these technologies that they've been like in the making for all these years. I mean, thank goodness that Steve Jobs had really built up Apple to be the brand that it is today, or else it really wouldn't hold up. And I almost feel like they are actually losing brand ambassadors because a lot of them are jumping to Android, and even new people coming of age that are now affording to buy their own, I guess, technology. A lot of them are choosing like Android devices as opposed to Apple. And I know that if you are even die-hard Apple fans back in the day have switched to Android. Now, that's not to say that there are Android people switching to iPhone. Now, I'm one of them. So if you want to hear why I've done that after what I've just said, then continue watching. Well, I'm glad you stayed. That was kind of like a long intro. Anyway, I was full on Android when Android open sourced their mobile operating system back in 2008, 2009. I was in Frankfurt, Germany, and I immediately saw the potential of jumping on the Android bandwagon. And back then, I decided to get the domain name for What's Up Android as a way to build a community. And my goal was to create Android cartoons and tweet it to the Android developers, because I knew that developers were very deep and steep in building code for mobile apps, Android mobile apps. And I thought that, I could make their day, I could make them chuckle or laugh and break the intensity of their coding with my Android cartoons. And I did that. And I quite made a name for myself early 2000, or like 2009, 2010. 2011. And all that changed once I moved back to Toronto. But that's another story. So when I did jump on the Android bandwagon, the big thing with the newly formed Android community as it was growing globally was the whole backlash that the Android devices were defragmented, meaning it wasn't consistent. Whereas the iPhone that had come out earlier was just one iPhone with one operating system. And it was unique, it was solid built, the design was integrated really well with the operating system. Whereas Android, there were so many manufacturers. There was like HTC, what was it? There was, I can't even remember, but there was a number of OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, that took on the operating system and integrated into their own design devices, and hence the fragmentation. It was fragmented. So when developers were designing apps for Android, it was very challenging for them because they had to design it based on the OEM specifications, in addition to the screen size and all that. Well, years have passed by and Android's come a long way. And actually, Android had catapulted itself, thank you to the open source community, by creating apps that are a lot more streamlined and just more robust. Now, in the early days, Apple dominated the App Store in terms of quality and quantity. And everybody did put down, Android applications and the Android market, because they were like, oh, like Android, Apple apps compared to Android was almost like back then 100 to 1, despite the fact that back then Apple had a really regimented and strict adaptation for Apple or app developers to get into the Apple Store or Apple market. Whereas Android, they were like accepting anybody and everybody and their grandmother, per se. So that's how it went. But over time, things started to get better, quality started to get better, and now we have what we have today. The latest Samsung is like Samsung 20, I can't even, Samsung 20 something. And then now there's the LG with their new VQ, whatever that new number is. Now, I've always had an Android phone, but interestingly, I switched to the iPhone. And I did that for a really good reason. Treated myself to an iPhone 11 Pro. The reason why I chose the Pro over the Max was because I felt that the Max was too large, and I liked how the iPhone 11 Pro fit in my hand. It felt a lot more comfortable than the Max. The reason why I switched to iPhone was because I've had Android phones for a number of years. And you know what? I've only actually had like 4 Android phones. The last Android phone I had was the Google Nexus 5. And it still ran well, but if as you know, the Google Nexus 5 was never meant to be a top of the line camera or video. It entered the market as one of the cheaper or the cheapest mobile phones from Android, which was a flagship phone one of the flagship phones back then. And it was very affordable, and it was like part of the Google's or Google Play stores. You can order the phone online unlocked. So that was good. I think I ended up getting that in 2014, and it served its purpose. I wasn't back then all about taking photos or going out live streaming like I did in Germany with my Nokia N95, even though, you know what? Even though I'm pretty sure the Google Nexus 5 camera probably had better resolution than Nokia N95. I'm just going by my earlier YouTube videos. And I know that I could have gotten a newer Android phone with the same, with a higher quality camera for video. However, I did watch a number of YouTube channels, thanks to the YouTubers out there who reviewed the top 3 Android phones with the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. And based on those videos that I've watched, I totally made a choice to get the iPhone 11 Pro, only because of the video and camera features or the way the images look. Now, I know that when there were Android and iPhone reviews on like A/Bing different images, like photography, the zoom, the focus, low light, evening shots, I found it was really just all subjective. Like, it really depended on what you liked better. To be honest, the Pixel 4, I found I liked the pictures better. Like, personally, it was a personal preference for me. I liked how the Pixel 4 handled the photos that I was shown in a number of in the reviews. However, I really did like the way iPhone 11 Pro handled video based on the reviews and the comparisons on YouTube. So because of that, I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of video moving forward in 2020, hence my YouTube channel. So I am filming with an iPhone 11 Pro front-facing camera. Right now I'm recording at 4K, 60 frames per second. And I know that that's almost like mute to do because there are a lot of people whose devices don't even like really display 4K. And I know that YouTube standard is like 1080p. So why am I recording in 4K anyway? It's just really going to consume a lot of memory on my iPhone or the iCloud. Well, the reason why, and it makes sense, a good friend of mine, Sean, who happens to be a coworker of mine as well, was talking to me yesterday and today to say, and it made sense, and I knew this, but coming from Sean, I'm just going to follow his advice. It's better to film or record in 4K 60 frames per second. And even though the output I could set at 1080p 60 frames per second, at least the compression is minimized as opposed to filming 1080 like HD 30 or 60 FPS and then the output is still 1080, and it made sense to me. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm filming in 4K 60 FPS, and I'm just going to see the quality, and you guys will know the quality too if you've been watching a few of my videos, for those of you who have subscribed. So I did watch the Apple event today with Tim Cook, and I just really miss Steve Jobs. I was also reviewing a lot of the Twitter, like the Twitter community, the Twitter dialogue regarding the Apple event, in particular the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro or Pro Max. And the sentiment out there was that a lot of them were not going to upgrade and purchase. A lot of were disappointed that the design was actually going backwards instead of forwards. It was like everybody said, oh, it's similar to, they were just bringing back the style or design of the iPhone 4 or 4S or 6, a previous version. I'm not really sure because, like, again, the iPhone 11 Pro was my first iPhone, but that was the sentiment out there in the Twitterverse, that a lot of people were disappointed. They were also disappointed with the screen. They said that they were expecting 120 or 90 hertz, but it's only, I think, 60. I haven't really watched the entire Apple event to get the details of all the specs on the new phones coming out. I'm just going by what I quickly glanced through in the Twitterverse and the Facebook feeds and a few of like Instagram comments. So the iPhone pretty much looks like an older version, but it's I think modernized, and a lot of people were upset that the notch was still there, that little rounded rectangular area on top of the phone where the camera is. And to be honest, when I first got the iPhone and I compared it to my Google Nexus 5 or the Samsung, and the real estate of the display on the like Android devices, there was less bevel, and it was like full on display, whereas the iPhone looked weird because it had that bit of that notch, and it just, to me, it didn't look good. I didn't like the look of it, but I bought it because of the video quality and how I could utilize the video for the iPhone, so that's why I did. But I know that a lot of people also complained that why was the notch still there. And I also saw a comment that somebody chimed in that due to focus groups, a lot of the focus groups said that they do like the notch and they found it aesthetically pleasing, and that it was like a design element. So I don't know who gathered this focus group or who is the demographics in the focus group, but okay. Like, that's what somebody said. That's what I read. So I'm like, okay, fine. But to me, it just looks like wasted space, and it's kind of like annoying in terms of like design. Now, when you talk about design and convergence or integration with like technology or software, I feel like Apple like missed the mark. They may be having moving forward and advancing in technology in terms of the A12 chip, or was it A5, A6 now, in that aspect, and in camera, but the design hasn't really changed. like the form factor. And I feel that just personally for me, Steve Jobs really did a great job coming up with these intuitive, beautiful designs that integrated really well with the operating system. And if I were to give a fair observation, then I'm going to say it now. As much as I say I missed Steve Jobs and the impact he's given to us in terms of creating digital content, because he's empowered each and every one of us, and he's also set the pace for other, like for Android, for other software developers to strive for, to reach that benchmark that he had set early on in terms of Apple products and software, mobile software and applications. I do feel that Steve Jobs and Apple came at a time where the landscape was new. So the first person who was intelligent enough and creative enough to have a vision to move it forward into the future, to create it for a global community that can empower them with creativity, that's what Steve Jobs did, because there really was nothing like it. And now we are here in 2020, as opposed to 2007 when the first iPhone came out, I believe. Now we're in 2020, so that the market is that much more saturated. Design elements or form factors hasn't really changed because there hasn't been a need yet. The only thing we can see in innovation is in the like hardware that we cannot see, not the form factor, but the hardware like inside these mobile phones or devices, and the operating system, and all the little tiny things that we don't even know, but behind the scenes, it's really making a big impact in the usability or the robustness of these devices. So my point is, when I say that Steve Jobs really was ahead of his time, it's because he was brilliant and creative. He was a great businessman. He had a vision and he just stuck to it. It was like a beeline. He was so focused and driven to do that. And we all benefited. The reason why we don't see that so much today is because, again, the market is saturated and the innovation really comes from like the parts that we don't see. We've come to a point in humanity, or first world humanity anyway, where the form factors with phones have already reached its peak, unless we as humans, there's a reason for us to change our behavior. And the next part of changing our behavior, I really thought it was going to be with Google Glasses. I really thought that when Google came out with the Google Glass, that would have been the next phase of changing human behavior. And we would no longer need, to hold things, to communicate, or now, the Apple Watch to communicate. It would just all be through visual. So we would literally have hands-free and we could walk around like communicating visually. I did try the Google Glass. I had an opportunity to try the Google Glass in Barcelona in 2015. I had met a good friend of mine in Germany, Ronan Schwartz, or Zero, that he's known at _Zero. He's known on Twitter. And he did let me try his Google Glass for like a day, and I liked it. Was it perfect? No, of course not. And I knew that it would have the software and of the design and the comfort level would build, and it really didn't go anywhere. So I really thought the next step to the advancement in human behavior and how we communicate and use technology and devices was going to be through the contact lens. What was it? Using like MEMS technology, the micro electromechanical systems. Basically, it's like taking a computer circuit or a sensor and putting it in your contact lens. And that's really what I thought the next step was going to be. And it hasn't happened yet. I know there are a few startups they're researching and developing contact lens where technology that's with computer circuitry and sensors, biosensors. And I'm really excited about that. I just wish it would come sooner, but I guess not. I guess there's still a lot of work and research to be had with that. But until then we're almost like at a stalemate in terms of form factor for devices. I mean, how else are you going to shape a mobile phone? It's already thin enough. It's already small enough. I feel like it was great to be small. Now we're starting to see phones get larger. Like I know that the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro or 12 Max is a lot larger than the iPhone 11 Pro, and it's actually touted as Apple's largest phones that they've ever put out. So first we wanted to go small and we thought that was neat. Now we want to go big again. It's like we're never just used to one thing. But in a way that's good because not everybody wants a bigger phone. And just like not everybody would want smaller phones for smaller screens. And that is why once we get that contact lens technology in place, like little like computer systems in our eyes, then it's hands-free and we no longer have to worry about, oh, we need a bigger screen to see, for people with eye issues. It's just all here. We're already seeing it as we walk. Like AR lenses, augmented reality lenses. We already have augmented reality integrated with our new phones, which is really great. Like I keep saying great. It's interesting, and it's almost like the enterprise applications and educational applications are tremendous with augmented reality and virtual reality. Really, it is, and it's been people have been using it. Enterprise and school systems and even cities and museums have been using it like for a decade now. But it can only get better. Even advertising has been using it for 10 years. It's really augmented reality and virtual reality in advertising, like experiential marketing, has been utilized for over a decade now. So that's how old it is, and yet still new, because it's just mainstream is starting to really not embrace it, but I guess get used to it. You have to get used to it because this is the world we're living in already. Like we're soon to be surrounded with just what is. So whether we know it or not, or whether we choose to be part of these new technologies and bring them into our own homes and personally use them, or use them in our workspaces, that's to be said. But we cannot help, distancing ourselves, because whether we don't, then our children or grandchildren, that's just how they're going to grow up. I mean, come on. 10 years ago, no, was it 8 years ago, I saw a YouTube video where there was a 2-year-old, a father gave his daughter an iPad for the first time, and this thing went viral. And she just knew how to use it intuitively, like just pointing. However, I did kind of like allude to, touchscreen and just doing this on 2010 in Hanover, Germany, at a CeBIT event, especially with Web Society. I was in a panel with Joanna Stern, and Sasha Pallenberg was the host, and Jim. You know what? I'm going to put the link to that video, to that panel, in the description below if you guys want to see it. I was then the Android PR gal. PR didn't stand for public relations. I wanted PR to stand for personal relationships. Back in 2009, I wanted the Android PR gal to be the Android personal relationship, helping Android developers build personal relationships with their target market. Because if they were going to build apps for niche markets, then they needed to start building relationships with them online using Twitter. And that was the premise of Android PR Gal and What's Up Android. it would be like, what's up, Android? So like, what are you doing now, Android? Like, what new phone? What are you doing? So that yeah, so I don't have that domain now. I let it lapse and somebody else took it. I still have what's up, Android on Twitter. I haven't used it in years, like in years, maybe 10 years now. It's pathetic. And a number of people have reached out to me asking me kindly if I could let go of the at what's up Android Twitter, and I didn't. And it's not that I'm selfish, it's just that I know that it was a great idea and it still is, but now there's really no need to do the WhatsApp Android. Now I feel like Android could be literally Android, like robotic slash, synthetic humans kind of thing. So maybe I'm gonna just hold on to that and wait for that. But yeah, I will not let go of the at what's up Android. Sorry, folks. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. I know I just ranted and babbled on about whatever I wanted to say about Apple, Android, Apple, technology, with blah, blah, blah. But that's me. I'm more... Oh, and you know what? It's late again. This is not an excuse, but I'm tired and I barely ate, so my mind is still... And I know it's a poor excuse for this content or the way I'm speaking in this video. But do consider subscribing to this channel, because there will be a video, like I say at the end of my videos usually, that will inspire you, motivate you, will give you an aha moment. Now, I'm going to end it here, and thank you so much for watching. If you did stay till the end, like, wow, kudos to you. So wherever you are in this world, have a great day, have a great evening, and see you tomorrow. Oh, and just to let you know, this is the 119th video in the 1,000 day challenge. And that is choosing to do one thing for 1 hour a day for 1,000 days straight. So because this is the 119th video, I've been doing one video every day for 119 days. And I've got a whole bunch more of hundreds to go to reach that 1,000. Okay. Ciao. Bye.